Hello guys, welcome to this channel, and in this video we're going to be learning React.js. We're going to be learning from basic to advanced how to use React to create your own project to the advanced level. So without much further ado, let's get started. First of all, you open your browser, then you go to download Node, and then you click on the first link, which is node.js nodejs.org. You click on that link, and then you should have a website like this. Since I'm on a Windows machine, I will go for the Windows installer, and then Windows installer, and then 64-bit. You click on that, and then that should start the download process. I'm going to cancel this because I already have it downloaded. So here we go. Once it is done downloading and you launch the setup, you should have a window like this. So you click on next, and then next, and then you install with the default settings. I will close this. I already have it installed. Yes. So once the installation is done, you open your CMD. So once the installation is done, you open your CMD, the CMD terminal, and then you type in node-v, and that should give you the version of the node. As you can see, it is here, so this shows that node is successfully installed. So now let's try npm and then v. So this should give us the version of the npm installed. As you can see as well, it gives it right over here. So the next step is you go over to your browser again, and then you type in download VS Code, which is Visual Studio Code. You should click on the first link, which should take you to code.visualstudio.com. That is the official website. So that should open a website like this, and then depending on the operating system you're using, I'm on a Windows, so I'll click on Windows, and then that should start the download process automatically. As you can see, thanks for downloading. So that should start the download process automatically. As we have it here, I am going to cancel this because I already have it installed. Once the download is done and then you launch the setup, you should have a Windows like this. You click on I accept the agreement, and then you click on next, and then you check this create a desktop icon, and then I also like to leave this checked, all these checked as well. Click on next, and then install. That should install Visual Studio Code on your machine. I will cancel this because I already have it installed as well. So once we have Node installed and then VS Studio Code installed, we are now ready to create our React project. So we open our CMD again, and then we go over into the directory of our choice. So I'll leave it as it is. And now we type in npm create vite at latest. So this will create a React project with the latest version of Vite, and that should run the process. This should take a while. We have it here. So now you type in your project name. So I will name this my React project, and then you select React because that is what we want to create, React, and then we choose JavaScript because we are going to be using JavaScript and React. And then that should be it for creating your React project. So now we go to cd my React project, and then you run npm install. So this should install all the necessary dependencies needed for the project to run. Once it is done installing all the packages and dependencies, you can type in, and with VS Code correctly installed, you should type in code space and dot. So this should open the project in Visual Studio Code. As you can see, we have it right here. It is opening. Then let me maximize this one like this. There we have it. We have our project opened. So on the left hand side, we go into the SRC folder, and then we can find there the app. So the app.js is the first page rendered by React on a website. So we have the index.css, which is the CSS of the index file. So here is the index.html right here, and the main.jsx, so which renders the app.jsx right over here. So now we go over to view and then terminal, and then we type in npm run dev. So this should run the out. So this should run the React project, so you can see the output. This should take a minute, and so there we have it. This link. So you can copy this link, or you can press on Control and then you click on it. So this should open the link in your default browser. Let me close that and this one as well. See, there we have it. So once we click on this, it should count up. So that is it for setting up React. Before we end this, let's just create a simple counter app, just like the default one we have right here. So I am going to delete everything inside, everything right over here. So let's just delete everything. So the first thing we do is we import the CSS of the app. So we're going to be using the default CSS styling. And now let's create a function called app, and then we export default and then app. So what this does is it exports this function and all its children, so it can be reused in different pages. So right here, exporting the app, it is being used in the main.js. We have it right here, app. So we can change the name to let's say a different thing. So we can change the name to whatever we want. See right here, it is importing app from app.jsx. So you come over here, that is why it is being exported. So anytime you want to use a function in a different page, you just export the function. So inside this, we create a constant, and the square bracket, let's call this count, and then set count. And then we set it equal to count, and then comma set count, and then we set it equal to, and then we set it equal to use state, and the default value we give it is 0. This use state is used to save the state of a data in React. So right here we are setting the default value to 0. We can set it to any data type like true, false, a string, any data type. But here, since it's a counter app, we need it to be in integer, so we set it to 0 by default. So the next thing we do is we display our element, the counter text, and then the buttons. So in order to achieve this, we return a div. So the div can be used to hold different. So the div, we're using div because divs can be used to contain different elements. So we return the div, and then inside this div we say h1, and then let's set it to count. Let's set it to the and then curly brackets, and then we set it to the count variable right here. And the next thing we do is we create button, and this button, let's call it increment, and let's create another button and let's call this decrement. So let's save this, and since it is already running in the terminal, you don't have to run npm run dev again. It automatically saves it and then runs it in the project. So we have it. So as we can see, we have it right here. We have the increment and the decrement. So right now you can click on it, but nothing happens. So the next thing we do is get our buttons working. So with that, we come over here to the opening tag of the button, and then we create an onClick event, and let's create a function bracket, and then we set the count. Let's set the count to count +1. So let's copy this onClick function right here and then paste it in a decrement, but here we change it to minus. And with that, let's rerun our page. Increments, decrement, increment. So it is working. So we have successfully created our counter app. So in the next tutorials, I will explain in depth everything you need to know about using React, like the use states, like functions. I will explain everything in depth. Thank you for watching this video. If you learned something from it, don't forget to like and then subscribe.